Right now, several states are taking weeks or even months to issue a death certificate. So we're going to explain the problems that's causing, one thing you should never do to try to avoid the problem, and give you an actual solution to that problem in this video.
So here in Minnesota, the Department of Health website says that they are taking 4 to 6 weeks to issue a death certificate.
It's a long time.
That's a long time, and that's a real problem for people because when someone passes away, there are always final expenses to be dealt with, there are funeral plans to make, and those usually need to be made sooner than 4 to 6 weeks.
That's right.
And so people try to fix this problem by doing lots of different things, right?
That's right.
They name a successor trustee, maybe if they have a trust. They name a power of attorney. They also do payable on death for different accounts that they might have. This actually doesn't fix the problem because you need a death certificate for all of those things. Your power of attorney actually dies with you. So all of these things are not helpful without a death certificate.
So we've talked about powers of attorney not working, success for trustees, these all take death certificates. So one thing that people have tried doing in the past is naming a child as a signer on their checking account. Now, in theory, that works, right? No death certificate needed because this other child can just come in and write checks on that account. Don't do that. Don't do that. Here's why. The moment someone names a child on a bank account as another owner, that becomes the child's asset as well. So if your child owns a business that fails or has a car accident and is sued, that is now your child's asset. Thinking that you're going to simply put money into a checking account that one of your children can sign on, that money is now legally theirs. If they get in trouble, that money is gone. So we're going to talk about a much better solution in this video. But I do want to back up and just talk about some of the problems that people are experiencing, right? Amber, you mentioned funeral expenses are one big thing that pops up before 4 to 6 weeks. Just paying bills. What about property taxes? Taxman doesn't care that you're gone. They want the taxes paid.
Right.
They want your estate to pay that. Travel expenses, right? A lot of people have children that live out of state. What we've seen happen, unfortunately, in our office is mom passes away and there are 3 kids. One child has to physically pay for the funeral costs for mom and then work with their siblings on how to figure out an equitable division of the assets at the end. Do you think that goes well?
Never.
No, because the other siblings say, oh, you didn't pay that much, you didn't cost that much, or this thing. It just breeds problems with the surviving family members.
So what do we recommend instead? Well, we have a plan that we love. It's called the Beneficiary Liquidity Plan. And you can put up to $100,000 into this plan and your beneficiaries get it within 48 hours.
That's right. So upon death, the beneficiary liquidity plan will pay out to your beneficiaries within 24 to 40 hours without a death certificate. So let's walk through an example, okay? Let's assume that Kay passes away and she's got 3 children. She's a widow. Kay passes away. Upon her death, they contact a funeral director. The funeral director comes up with a bill for the funeral. That's submitted to the beneficiary liquidity plan. That plan then cuts a check directly to the funeral home for the expense of the funeral, and any amount left over then is overnighted to the beneficiary. So let's use Kay's example. Let's say that Kay set aside $50,000. And Kay passes away, the funeral expenses come to $15,000. That leaves $35,000 to go to her named beneficiaries without a death certificate. Now, Amber, we're not talking about growing assets here, right? We're simply talking about repositioning assets that maybe are in retirement accounts or real estate, some of these things that have to go through the process to pass on. Let's take a small portion of that, set it aside, so that immediately upon death, within 48 hours, those funds can be released to beneficiaries.
Now, a lot of people like to plan ahead for their funerals by buying a prepaid funeral plan. And this can be a great option as well. But the problem is prepaid funeral plans do not include travel expenses
Right.
for children. They do not include paying any other final expenses besides the funeral. So there are usually more things that
That's
need
right.
to be paid right away
That's right.
than just the funeral.
And the biggest reason people do this, Amber, is not so much just setting aside the money. It's to prevent these family problems that we discussed, right? There's no fighting with the siblings. All of a sudden, the check shows up in their mailbox before the funeral even starts, and we're getting liquidity into that estate immediately upon death. So the best thing you should do here is we're going to put a link in the description below for a quick form to send us your contact information. From there, we'll reach out to you and discuss, is this a good idea? Is this type of final expense planning something you should consider for yourself or maybe even for your parents if maybe you only have one parent surviving who's a widow or widower to avoid these family problems?
So click on the link below to contact us for more information.
Because you can make the rest of your life the best of your life.
Plan now to retire happy.